Hi, everybody. Uh, can you hear me okay? Yes? No? Hello? Hey, Joe, can you hear me? How about you, Bruce? I'm gonna hang on a sec. Oh, good. Hi, Rich, buddy. How you doing? Hey, Clyde, how's it going, man? This is I was I was just polishing up my Rolf Lang uh, Dresden with my official Rolf Lang Dresden polishing cloth. This will After this week, I'm not going to have it. July 1st, um, it goes, and someone else will have it. Hi, Alex. How you doing? Punctured lung. How are you? Uh, so anyway, so today is it may be the last day. I hope not. Maybe I'll have it next time. Hi, Crappy. Nelson. Um, So anyway, what I wanted to talk about today was the whole issue, and it has to do, oddly enough, with this is my little Mickey Mouse quartz, okay, and I had put it had been months ago that I even had it out of the case. I just put it in the case and leave it alone, and every now and then I'll bring it out for the heck of it. And the thing was that I brought it out. I was looking at it, just checking the time, and the time was almost perfect. I mean, I haven't even touched it, and yet it's a perfect time. Now, on the other hand, with a mechanical watch of just about any sort, you're going to have an issue with that. You're going to have to reset it and do other things. And of course, the better the watch, um, the better off I guess we all are. And that was why on yesterday's video I was talking about what I think. I could be wrong about this, but it's sort of the epitome of what watchmakers and mechanical watchmakers have done to basically flatten out the I guess the power curve on a spring. Okay, so the spring starts off and it's really powerful. I used to have a toy. I'd wind up the toy and the thing would take off like a scalded cat. Hey, Adam. And then at the end it would go wonk 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 as it wound down. And it was a toy and it wasn't that big of a deal. And so the same is true, of course, with our watches. So we have one source of power, and that is the spring in it. Our mainspring is the main power. And what the Remontois d'Egalité did is simply to have another little spring wound by the big spring that would keep a constant force. Okay. Well, I really like that whole idea a lot of a remontoire. Remontoire, by the way, all it means is rewind. And so, looking at that, I thought, well, I wonder what our typical watches have to help flatten that out. So I just thought I'd bring that to you today. And I'll start with our watch. I can't say it's my watch because it truly belongs to 12 of us. And it doesn't even belong to us except for a month at a pop. And um, so in looking at it back here, the kinds of things that you have in this movement are pretty standard. One of the greatest inventions, and it's so simple, is the going barrel. They used to have the old spring. You'd wind it up and just sort of let the spring go its merry way. And of course, as it got bigger, it lost torque. And so all that the going barrel did was to confine the amount of looseness that the main spring could have, so that it would it would even it out. And I don't know if you remember, we had some charts, and the chart, boy, I tell you, going from going up here and down to here, boy, that thing really evened it out quite a bit. Just having the going barrel. So that's one thing, and I think all of us probably have that, is a going barrel. All right, that's one thing. Another thing that we probably all have is the S curve, okay, and the S curve in the spring. And so, as far as constant force is concerned, from the mainspring, that's it. I mean, that's all we got for the most part. Now, on my FP Jorn with two barrels, it's got okay, the on the FP Jorn, it's got two barrels, and it just uses the first and the second. Oh, let me see. It doesn't use the first 20% or the last 20% of the source of power. Okay, it just uses the middle 60%, puts in two barrels. Now you got 120% of what a spring without any kind of control over would have. In other words, you just sort of let it wind out all the way. So that's one of the things. And I'm trying to think what else there might have. Oh yeah, and I'm not sure whether this counts as not, and that is on my Henry double hairspring. Hi Abdul, and so that is another kind of thing, and that's something else I wanted to sort of talk about today a little, is some of the things to keep things going. That FPJ is something Willie Wonka would create. Hey, rich buddy, what did you have chocolate? Anyway, Willie Wonka. All right. So the other thing that we contend with are our balance wheels. Now, our balance wheels, again, the steadier they are, the force that they exert to kick the pallet fork back and forth that releases this, and so on and so forth. Hi, Giovanni. How's it going? So yeah, you got me today, Giovanni. Anyway, so I thought, well, let's take a look at a badly drawn balance wheel. Here's my balance wheel that I made. That's supposed to be round, but it turned out more like a coconut. So just imagine it's a Hawaiian balance wheel or something like that. South Seas Island. All right, now those little horns on there, and Clyde, don't say what you're thinking. Ruffett, how you doing, man? So these little horns are really not horns. What they are, they're little weights, and they're actually, and they screw in, and you can have a finer adjustment. The more you screw it in, it goes this way or that way, and so by adjusting these screws, you can increase two things. First of all, the weights themselves increase the inertia, and so with a greater inertia, you're going to have a steadier, sweatier. It's a sweatier too. It's really hot today. I had to change shirts. You're going to have a steadier back and forth. Okay. Okay, punctured lung. I won't say it again. These are weights. Okay. I miscalled them something else. Counterweights. There you go, Rothit. That's the right wing, and they're for, as you say, radial balancing. Now, the thing of it is that I've got no idea how they do it. I think you have to have a special machine or something so you can get it perfectly balanced, but that's what you want. The same principle works with a tightrope walker. You ever see those tightrope walkers? They got those really long poles, and what they do is that they reduce they increase the inertia. Inertia meaning nothing's going to happen, like falling off and breaking your neck. Okay, so essentially, this is what these weights do. Excuse me. Now, another kind of weight, the weight that is on here is really interesting. These weights, you have a single, you have your balance wheel. You got a single bar across here, and then you got four weights that are actually. Let me see. I put these on the back of Dilbert daily cartoons. They're these little barrels like this. Okay. Now, what you do with this is based on the marine chronometers, and to adjust it, you move these weights around. They have like a little slit in them, and then they're on the side of the actually I guess it'd be more like this. They're on the side of the balance wheel. Okay, the bar that makes it up. Hi EJE and okay, those counterweights. Yeah, right. Okay, horns are us. All right, EJE. Horns are us. All right. Oh, well, now these four wheels. These are what the marine chronometer by a type of balance that Rolf Lang makes. Now he makes like $1 million one. Oh, they never caught the Zodiac killer, Clyde. By the way, so how you know that's what they look like? All right. The anyway, so this is some of the issues with balance. Now, another way to increase the balance is to increase the speed. And with higher speed, it's just like on a bicycle. If you're going really fast on a bicycle, it stays up a lot easier than if you're going really slowly. And so, yeah, I know. Yes, I was there then too. I was, by the way, too, here's a piece of trivia. I was working on a book on detective investigations, and I was with this one detective, and they were interviewing a suspect up in the Santa Barbara area where they had found a double murder by the Zodiac. And we were going there, and as closer we got, the more I realized, what if we catch him? What am I going to do? Hide in the trunk? Because I would. Anyway, cutting the grass, yeah, that's what I look like. I was just going for a hike. I just got back. I was about a 3-click off and back. All right. Rich Buddy, I think they got him 10, 15 years ago. Maybe so. This was, God, Jesus. This is back in the 70s, early 70s was my encounter, which is, good God, that's going on 40, 50 years ago, I'm afraid. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So one way to increase the stability was to increase the speed. Now the problem with increasing the speed was that would wear out the parts quicker. The high beats that, for example, that Grand Seiko makes, those watches are super accurate, and in part it's because of that. There are other things that go into it too. Anyway, that's some of the stuff I wanted to talk about. What are some of the other things that you guys have either in your watches or you'd like to get in a watch that does nothing? This is not a complication. This doesn't like a moon phase or something like that. This is simply something to keep the time steady. High DMV 4-star IG. So, what do you got? What would be another thing that we might want to look for in a watch for this kind of steadiness? Oh, let me mention one more while you're thinking about that, and that's what the hairspring is made of. The hairspring is they first of all they try to put in something anti-magnetic. Rolex, I believe, and you Rolex fans out there can correct me if I'm wrong. Um, and that's they use niobium and silicon. I think I'm probably saying it wrong. It's a some kind of silicon based or silicon element, and both of which are I don't. They're not so much anti-magnetic as they're non-magnetic. They're not affected by magnetic. A Remontois, yeah. DMV4 star, yeah. We talked about a Remontois a little, and a Remontois is a great thing. I love Remontois. I just can't afford them. My God, I tell you, there is one Remontois that may be near affordable, and that is, but it's not a Remontois de Galate, which is the big one. Um, Parachrome hairspring. Okay, now Bruce, is a Parachrome hairspring? Is that the one that Rolex uses? Okay, Abdul, the certification, if it's a Swiss Observatory tested COSC certification, etc., some micro brands certify their watches and it's a good USP. Yeah, the certification is a good thing. You know, this is the thing is that I've been wearing this watch, pretty much every day since I got it because I'm only going to have it for a month, and the it's sort of funny. It's when I put it on my time grapher, it's showing it's slower than I like, and but when I compare it with a clock uh, on my computer, it's spot on, and so I'm thinking, what? There's something wrong with my time grapher, and I have two of them. Okay, let's see. Yeah, okay, that's the Rolex one. Okay, Bruce, that is the one that I believe is made of niobium and siliconium. Saying it wrong. Hey, Dr. A and B. Um, so anyway, that was one thing. Uh, the one that H. Moser has is made of niobium and titanium, and the same guy that worked on the Rolex hairspring worked on the one that H. Moser has. I thought it was sort of thing. Hi, Apart. How's it going, man? 24. Hey, Arabia Felix. Any quartz watch? You missed the quartz watch, Arabia. Here it is. We're not talking about quartzes. We're talking about our arcade technology that we all love. Okay, I'm not sure what is Rolex, but they are the most durable. Compared to what, Rich buddy? They're pretty durable. But I don't know. Is niobium and siliconium as durable as niobium and titanium? I don't know. I don't know if there's ever been any tested or not. Hi, Forbin Colossus. Hairspring gets rabbity. Okay. Hey, Todd. Um, the the thing is that we don't have a lot of tests that I've seen anyway, and that I think I'd like to see more of them. Do you think of Universal? What do I think of Universal Geneve? Mixed reviews, Rich Buddy, on Universal Geneve. Some of them I really like, but I think they got a mix. I think they're using a combination of ETA and some other movement, but I'm not positive on it. It's one of those ones. The thing I like about Universal Geneve is that they had a lot of regulators, and I still haven't got a regulator, but that's one I'd like to have. What I'd really like to have is the Laurent Ferrier regulator. I can't afford that. Or the one that I think you can get an old one from A. Longa. Can't afford that either. Okay. Okay, their new ones use, obtanium. That's new. Um, I wore a Rolex two-tone sub for 16 years and just got a service for the sake of service. And watch can take a beating and keep on ticking. Okay, yeah, so can a Timex. Actually, a Timex. The thing I liked about back when I was younger, much younger. I wore Timex. They were great. They kept perfect time, and then they'd drop dead on you. You just pull them out and get another one. Hey, Jurors Online, how's it going, man? Let's see, Alpar, anti-magnetism. That's one of that the Simple watches would have. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Anti-magnetism is important. On my after I had my FP Journe, both of them serviced, wasn't cheap. All of a sudden, my FP Journe was running really slow. The chronometer surveying. I know what to do. And so I talked to the guy at the FP Journe boutique in New York, and he said, "Oh, he thought it was because of magnetism." And I said, "But it's running too slow." And I always thought that magnetism would shrink up the hairspring and run faster. But he said no. So he put it in their anti-magnetic machine, run perfect now. It's sort of interesting. This guy, I think, got a little magnetized too. It spent more time than it should have in customs, and U.S. customs is a nightmare. And this guy had to spend, I think, more nights than he should have, and God knows what he would. He'd probably put it next to a vacuum cleaner that's got a magnet in it the size of a really big one. Um, anyway, so I took anti-magnet thing to him and went okay. Yeah, that's CS. Me too, EJE. Okay. Let's see. What were some of the other ones? Is actually one of the most useful things to have these days. Oh, an anti-magnetism machine. Yeah, I've got one. I read this thing by some guy. He said that cheap Chinese ones, like the one I had, doesn't work. He said that, but then he said, well, he said, good luck using that thing with some kind of super pliers or something. I just using it with a watch. Works fine. And it is a handy machine. I wonder though, the thing I do any of you have a really good time grapher? I just have those cheap ones that they're $150, something like that. Mesmerism machine. Well, I tell you, if for with with your attitude to certain brands, Clyde, you need one. Okay, China prices usually China quality, but if it works, it works. Yeah, that's something else too. There used to be a lot of jokes about the Japanese quality, but Japanese quality makes very good things. Um, you know, it, Quality is quality, no matter where it's from. I think. Since I use Chinese knockoffs of ETAs in the watches I make myself, simply because it's cheaper for me to destroy a Chinese one than a Swiss one. Okay, well let's talk about some of the other things that go into to try to keep a mechanical watch on time. In other words, we're collectors, and I think of the things we collect when I look at, well, how many of these things are really something interesting about the watches themselves. In other words, how they run. Most of them are the same. I mean, we've got a going barrel. We got the S-shaped spring. We've got the newer metals, and the springs are all just way better than they used to be. Let's see, what else do we have? Okay, I think the big thing is the balance. What about the coaxial? I don't know. Punctured lung, the coaxial is something I want too. That's another thing on my wish list, is to get a watch with coaxial. But I think what the coaxial does, it cuts down on friction. I think that's the major thing that it does. And so that may add to the accuracy of it on the escapement. But I'm not positive, to tell you the truth. I think the main thing that George Daniels had for that is a better uh, not wearing out as fast, but I'm not positive. Okay. Hi, Richard A. Good morning. Where are you? Where are you? Here it's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been interested in Universal GD. They used to provide chronograph calibers for many major Swiss houses such as Jaja Lecoultre, Zenith, and Girard Perregaux. I didn't know that, Rich Buddy. That is interesting. Um, okay. Let's see. For a manual wine watch that's worn regularly, it's better to wind them fully every day or let the springs wear down. Clyde, I know that's what I was told. In fact, on Clyde had an interesting point. It's best to wind them every day. Um, the Marco Lang also in the instructions on his watches said wind them up every day at the same time. And so this is by Ralph Lang, and so probably a good idea. But I like to let them unwind all the way, and I'll tell you why. And it's not it's based on the whole idea of the spring being used to its fullest extent, and then going back and then use it to its fullest extent again. Um, I've had two different opinions on that. There's a very smart watchmaker I know who used to be a Grand Prix judge, he handles his main work that he does is handling Rolexes, but he also does a lot of other things. And he said to let him unwind. So I don't know. I'm of two minds on that. Uh, so that's all I know. Victoria. Oh, okay. Hi, Richard. Oh, Victoria, BC. Well, that's not in the morning in Victoria. That's California time. Okay, let's see what else you guys have. If you cover the movement with a thin cage of metal, a Faraday cage, does it protect against magnetism? I don't know. I have no idea. Uh, by and large, I think what I'm supposed to do is what I don't do. I'm not supposed to have these near computers, and I did move my case over here some, but computers have a big magnetic field. You want to keep them away from vacuum cleaners. Believe me, they've got the biggest magnets. Would you wind them up daily if it has an 8-day reserve? No, I wouldn't. I definitely would not. If it has an 8-day reserve like a Hebdo Damari, Clyde, I would wind it up once a week. And I mean, what's the point otherwise? Hey, Leon, how's it going, man? Um, okay, the cheapest is probably the price of a nice house. Yeah, that's right. Okay. All right. So these are some of the things. I'm trying to think if there's something else that we use. Oh yeah, they're trade-offs. One of the things we had a discussion about a while back was that all of the top watchmakers, Philippe Dufour, FP Journe, all of these guys, Langen, Marco Lang, and Ralph Lang, all of these that are the very top have the slower frequency. All right. Now, if you increase the frequency, two things happen. You have better accuracy, but you also have more wear and tear. So that I think is a trade-off. And it's something that I ask a very very sharp watchmaker, saying, well, is that because with the slower movement or the slower frequency, is that because you have to have everything else has to be far more precise? And he said, no, he didn't think that was it, which is, I don't know what, he sort of threw me on that. One thing I do know is that Kari Voutilanen uses these great big balance wheels. And of course, the bigger the balance wheel, you're going to have better inertia. At least that's what he told me. And then I've looked at some of the ones. I was looking at one of those big ETA 6497s and 98s. Those things, they don't have huge balance wheels, but the balance wheels don't look as big because the movement is so big. So I think they are a little bigger. Okay, wouldn't a slower frequency have longer power reserve? Yes, you're absolutely right. That's another point, Clyde. That's true. That's very true. Um, yeah, you do have that, and that's one of the reasons that some of them like it. Another reason too, you get a really expensive watch like a Vuitton, and those I think if you're lucky, you can find a used one for like 40,000. Um, and if you get one of those, you don't want to have to send that thing back to what I think it's Vuitton-Lanen's got his shop right outside our Fourier. Okay, and would it have a constant force? It's let me put it this way, Clyde. It's got a longer constant force problem to deal with. I'm not. I have thought about the same thing. That, oh my God, here you got this Hebdo Damari with the weekly wind to it, and how do you even out the force on that? So you got a longer constant force you do, and that to me is an interesting problem. That's how come I like the Hebdo Damari so much, and I don't have one, uh, because it has that weekly one. Uh, my weekly is still in the vault. Is my Beauvais 1930, and that's got a that yeah wind that thing up once a week, and it keeps pretty good time. I think it's a little fast. That's the only that's the only downside of it. That's an adjustment would probably fix that. Constant Force. Why isn't that an action movie? Hey, it is. I think it's it's Constant Force. Ugh. Okay. Yes. Just look at the pocket watch movements and some of the affordable German brands like the Laco Kirkshaven. Boy, I don't know that brand, but it sounds like something I'd like to find out about. Um, Slow-witted people must live longer, lower frequency. Now, come on, Forbin, that's not. That's that's just that's just mean. Oh, okay. Any other ideas about how we how we keep these things sort of like? I mean, knowing full well is that my Mickey Mouse watch uh, is going to keep better time than this handmade fabulous piece with the all of the really a beautiful piece of of, of watch. What else is there? I think the service is important. Lubrication is important. Uh, the the one that F.P. Jorn has in his watch. It's called the Chronomet Optimum. It has a remontoire d'égalité in it, and it has this um, sort of it's like two barrel uh, a two barrel balance. It really is a strange thing. It's even stranger than the remontoire d'égalité in it. Um, okay, what is a unicompax versus a bicompax? Boy, that's something else I don't know a thing about. I'd be interested to find out about that. Um, I I haven't heard of it before, and which means that I've got something to learn. I love learning new stuff. To me, that's what keeps these things interesting. Every time you think you know a lot, you find out you don't. So that's more to find out about. So it's called a bicompax and a tricompax and a unicompax. Boy, I haven't heard of it, and now I have. So uh, I'll see what I can find out. Does anybody else know what that is? What Rich Buddy's talking about? Rich Buddy, do you know what watch that was discussed in relationship to, or was it just something you came across? Okay, great. All right. Anything else you guys have? We'll wait for Rich Buddy's going to pop up with some examples real quick. But in the meantime, What are some other things that we use? Do remontoirs require stronger mainsprings? Yes, good point. Yes, they do. In fact, there was some grumbling about that. That the remontoirs not only were more powerful, but because they had to use some of that power. Well, what they do is that they use it all for the remontoire, at least for the remontoire d'égalité. Now, there's one in the Zaza Lecoutre Geophysique 2 seconds. Now that has a remontoire that is not part of the gear train, but you're just sort of like, okay, I got to take care of seconds. You guys worry about the minutes and hours. That thing is off by itself. Um, okay, some vintage watches on the market are hotter than others simply because the movement inside of them. Zenith by Compacts Chronograph. Interesting. You know, one of the other things too, I was looking for remontoirs, and there was a whole bunch of remontoirs for sale in real vintage, like 19th century vintage um, pocket watches. So who knows? Hi, Alex. I've heard of for Universal Geneve. Okay, all right. Well, that would be the place to look then. Like I said, I have no idea what it means, and I don't know. Um, Universal Geneve watches on the dial. Some are unicompact, some are bicompacts on the dial. Watches on the dial. I'm not sure. Rich Buddy, watches on the dial. You mean that sort of like the ones that you can see on the top of, who is that I can't think of the ones that they have split the where you can see the movements half on top and half below. Forgot what that was. A guy I know had one. Says Unicompact. Compacts is it's on the dial. Okay, starting as early as 1936, Universal and Zenith began naming their chronograph watches using the now standard compacts nomenclature refers to the number of complications. Ah, okay. So compacts, so unicompacts means it's either got one or just keeps time, and then the other ones mean more complications. He's talking about sub-registers. Sub-registers, you mean like sub-dials, Bruce? Some of the UG brand have compacts on the dial. Okay. Generally, the compact name refers to the number of complications on the watch, but since these are usually expressed with subdials, that association is stuck. Ah, okay. So there's my unicompacts at small seconds. I don't think that counts as a complication. Oh, the one I've got is my what's it called? The hemisphere, the Parmigiani Fourier hemisphere, Honda hemisphere. That thing has got subdials up the yin yang. Okay, all right. Well, that's cool. Thanks, saving me some research time. Hey, you guys, this is great. This is the kind of discussion I like to have. I don't know about you, but I learned something. I much prefer the ones I learned something than any of the others. And we learned about the compacts today, so that's cool. Anyway, like I said, I got to run. My time is up. The rolling pin clock is coming around. So anyway, thanks a lot, guys, and thank you for coming. Oh, and by the way, tomorrow I just found out today the the watch review we're having, the collection review we're having tomorrow, is by a guy who's got like his own YouTube watch show with thousands. I mean, a lot more than I have, like tens of thousands subscribers. So that might be fun. Hey, Mooney42, how you doing, man? I'm sorry you came so late. I love those Moonies. I want if I don't know if any of you guys ever flown a Mooney before, but it's like sitting in a sports car. Your legs go straight out. I had a Cardinal, man. We had a lot of room in there. You sit up like you're in a Mack truck in a Cardinal, but Mooney was this fast little airplane. Anyway, the old ball and chain kills are fun. Oh, come on now. It's like, all right. We'll see you guys. See you later. Bye bye.